Welcome to Smart Haus, a Pittsburgh podcast about smart technology, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and the future. I'm your host, Dustin Dowling, and our guest today is comedian Felicia Gillespie. Thanks for coming on pod, Felicia.
Oh, man, thank you for having me. This is so exciting. I feel smarter already.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you've been on the Gas Digital Network, Kill Tony, and Compound Media. How has that been like, and do you feel like you're on some kind of podcast circuit?
I don't, because it isn't consistent enough for me to feel that way.
Okay.
But they do have an overlap in their fan base, so that could be sort of a circuit. And then, first question: what is it like?
What was that like? How's that been? How's things been with that?
It's fun.
Kinda?
I mean, I've never been good at podcasts.
Okay.
I'm starting to get good at podcasts. I took improv actually recently at UCB.
Oh, just recently?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just graduated Improv 101 at Upright Citizens Brigade to get better at podcasting because I just love stand-up and that's my forte.
Yeah.
But I got to get on podcasts, you have to get exposure. So it's been a challenge for me to get good at I'm not good at it still, but it's been a challenge. I'm pretty nervous about it. I don't have much faith in myself to be good at podcasting.
I think that's the first thing I said when you came in here. Is like, I always got the pre-show jitters.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, like, it doesn't matter.
I end up shutting down when I was on Gas. Well, I've been on a bunch of shows on Gas, but when I was on Real Ass Podcast, I was pretty quiet. And the second time I was on, there were people in the live chat going, is she going to talk this time? I was like, oh, no.
Right, chat, right, chat, right. I wish we did have chat so I could just go and say stupid stuff like that. Right, chat? All right, cool.
Leave a comment under the live stream if you're passing by.
Maybe you should just talk and I'll just be a fake NPC beside you. And it's like, yes, Sam.
Yeah.
Yes, Sam.
Yes, Sam. Well, it's, it's like much like today. I've never met you. This is the first time. You're thrown into a room with people you've never met. And my instinct is to sit back and observe in that situation because I'm not the type of entertainer who's like, everybody listen to me right now. I find my spots and crack jokes when I have them, good ones, the bad ones you hold in. But that's what I do. So, but in that environment where there's maybe 4 or 5 people all kind of passing the conch shell and fighting for the mic, I have no skills in stepping up to the plate and grabbing everyone's attention.
I feel like I always have the reverse skill. So like in that moment, I'm never strong enough attention, to grab everyone long enough. But at other times when everyone's too quiet, I won't shut the fuck up. Like, just like, I'm like too much of me.
Well, that's a good thing, though. That's what you want. You want somebody who can cover the dead air. But
Yeah.
I just need to get more comfortable with that type of thing. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if that's my demographic either. So that's another part of it is doing different podcasts. You realize where you fit in best and what the fan base likes you the most. So it's been interesting. I just started. So.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, this is why I started this podcast. It was literally like I was talking about before, trying to learn the tech side of it so I could be a better producer. But to be a better producer, you got to make shows. And I was like the only one that could be in front of the camera because and then I'm like, okay, let's just go on Twitter and YouTube and because I did this for years before. I had like a little talk show in someone's basement.
Yeah.
And I would just go through Twitter and whatever, and luckily would find some people that would have like millions of followers.
Yeah.
And just throw them on the show. And it usually worked to an extent.
Yeah, you have the advantage of knowing how to do all of the tech stuff. I don't know how good you are at the social media aspect, but everybody in New York has a team. So there's somebody for each job. And I can't afford that. So you at least have that advantage where you're saving money by hiring someone.
Yeah. I'm trying to do AI for that now, so I could, which is just getting rid of jobs completely. So
is it?
Yeah, I mean, not yet, but I don't have enough money to hire someone, so it's really not. Yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, I saw on your Instagram it says you're a curious person. What are you curious about?
Pretty much everything that's bad for me. Pretty much, just. I don't know. I will go down rabbit holes all the time. I will anything this is normal for a person. The only difference is I think most people will boundary with it. I'll be like, I don't have time for this,
Mhm.
or I can't go down that road. I'll go down that road until it makes my life miserable.
It's just like conspiracy theories or like hobbies, video games. What are we talking here?
A lot of times it's people, conspiracy theories, yes.
Okay.
Anything that, like, I love this whole AI thing. I don't know much about it, but I'm into where it's going. The alien thing, I'm into where that's going. All the political conspiracies, I'm there. I'm right there with it. And then if there's like a particular person, like I've always watched Penn and Teller. They've
Okay.
always been on, right? But one time I just went down a Penn and Teller rabbit hole, and I'll do it for 3 straight days, almost to the point where I don't sleep. I'm like, oh, this leads to this, to that. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I know everything there is to know about Penn and Teller.
Is it like you're on Wikipedia and like watching videos?
Yeah, I'm watching the videos. I'm watching interviews. I'm watching when was this filmed? What is that trick? And then sometimes it spins off, it branches off into, well, who's that magician? And who's that magician? So it's this whole kind of mind map of things involved with Penn and Teller. So, and then by the end of it, I'm like, I don't even care about Penn and Teller anymore. I've done it.
Do you feel like you're retaining this information, or
No.
it's just a trip?
No, I don't even retain it. Only the most fascinating things to me I will retain, but I usually am like, oh yeah, Penn and Teller, I'm over it. But
that sounds like a T-shirt. Yeah, Penn and Teller, I'm over it. And they're like, huh? What?
I got to see him live though.
That's cool.
Yeah, a couple years ago in Vegas, so that was fun. They kept wanting. I know Penn wanted me to come on stage and be a volunteer, because every time they were asking for a volunteer, he was staring right at me, and I was like, I don't want to do it.
Were you close, or you just have that?
Was.
You got that big smile, and you're just in his eyes, and they're like, "You're on stage person." I know that. That's what they're thinking.
In like the 5th row on the aisle, and I looked good. I was wearing a dress, but I had these shoes on that I was like, I don't know if I can make it up those stairs without falling. So that was the main reason.
That is so interesting to me, because I would never. That's not an issue. Like for me, not going on stage. I can think of 1,000 reasons, but like me looking down, like I ain't got the shoes for this today.
I should have. I could. They weren't even shoes that I could just slip off and go up on stage barefoot, because I would have done that. But they were like boots, so they up a lot. So I would have had to, like, it would be a whole thing.
I think it would have worked. It sounds good to me.
But that was cool. I got to see them working out new tricks. It was right after like the country started opening back up after COVID. So they were trying out new tricks, and they had some old solid tricks, but it was super fun. Yeah. I snuck a picture. You weren't allowed to sneak a picture, but I snuck about 3 pictures of them to prove that I was there.
You got to do that. You got to do that. I feel like I've watched them my entire lives, even so much so that might have been like one of the people, one of the groups that intrigued me to start kind of getting into entertainment and stuff like that. 'Cause I was like, yeah, magic is cool. Comedy's really cool, but magic and comedy, all right, this is interesting. What is this? Because if you fuck up, I'm totally still with it.
I love magicians, but I'm also terrified of them. So I just feel like they have some kind of evil inside of them.
Oh, yeah.
That I think they're all con artists. I
think you have to be.
You have to be.
Yeah.
Which is very appealing in a way. It's sexy, but also it's like, they're going to ruin my life.
Yeah.
So I can't.
A friend of mine who actually lives in this building upstairs. He is a magician. He's a pretty popular magician in Pittsburgh, and he does give me that vibe. Something like he's this person on stage, and you kind of have a regular conversation with him, and it's like, you seem cool, but like you might betray me, and like and then stick me in a pot, and send me to Satan. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Magicians, I think, are like the version of gangsters.
Yeah.
Like, every woman probably has that gangster fantasy, because you want to, it's like if you were married to a gangster, you would have this amazing amount of protection. But at the same time, your life is at risk every day.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Wow. I think you just gave me a great idea for like a short film or a movie. I think that's real, like a magician who's kind of a gangster and uses his con artist tricks. And you're right. His wife is kind of scared of him. Will Arnett by you could see. I'm just picturing, what show is he in with
Arrested Development.
Yeah, because he's like a magician in that show. I think a couple times. Yeah. Oh, Oh, let's pitch that together. That sounds like a great idea.
Let's do it.
When you're going down these rabbit holes, are you also using like anything like TikTok? Are you getting caught up with that?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the algorithm would be crazy once it knows that that's what you want.
Well, TikTok, yes. Mostly YouTube and
Okay.
online articles.
Okay.
I'm older school.
Right.
So I can't take in the information in 3-minute chunks. I mean, TikTok, I guess they've expanded it now to 10 minutes, but
it is girthier because I specifically will not watch TikTok. Not that I don't think it's the better app, because I do think it's the better app for content, but sometimes it's too much and too fooling. It's like I'm full. Like if
Really?
I'll go to Snapchat and watch some junk videos that don't even end. Like, or just to like let my mind go to ease. Because when I go to TikTok, I feel like it's just knowledge, something funny, entertainment. And it's like, okay, this is just too much good stuff now.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. It's like you're overdosing.
I'm overdosing. Yeah.
on information and entertainment.
I triggered you? I feel like I'm just like a little bit of ideas. You're going to be on TikTok coming back here next. Listen, I went on a Penn and Teller TikTok.
I can't imagine that
Binge.
anybody would be uploading Penn and Teller to TikTok, but I recently, never seen this before, recently saw a Mitch Hedberg clip, a reel on Instagram, and I was like, oh no, the kids are going to blow up Mitch Hedberg again.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's like, they're going to be like, who is this guy? Oh, he's dead? They're going to be so disappointed.
No, these kids are gonna like somehow clone him or put him into a robot of sort, and then he'll be walking around again.
That would be
So-
amazing. I got to meet him. It was cool. He was very nice.
He seems like he would be very nice, the type of personality. He is awesome as an artist to that he is such level that every couple years or every few months, it's like there's a wave of Mitch Hedberg jokes that come flying. Like they're brand new all of a sudden.
Yeah. It's he's very unique. Nobody will ever have that personality again.
So are you busy? You seem like you're busy. You're jumping around.
Like
with a
right
bunch-
now? Like
yeah,
what
well,
do you-
not today.
No, I got time to do this.
Honestly, when I think busy, I mean that means if I search you on YouTube and you have videos up within a month, and I think you had 3 or so of podcasts or whatever. So I'm like, busy enough. Seems busy.
I don't, because I'm not doing anything with my YouTube right now. Right now, I am producing shows in New York that I'm also hosting. So I'm trying to do as many podcasts as I can and get on stage as much as I can while making money at those things, which is like
Wait, you're supposed
almost
to do the
impossible.
second part? I didn't know there was a second part.
to make money.
Yeah,
or-
I thought it was just
yeah.
make stuff.
I have to
Gotta get
eat.
that part.
Got to eat. Got to pay rent.
Yeah.
Got to support these kids I have. I have 5 kids. I don't, but
I thought you were telling the truth for 2 seconds. I was like, my research is terrible. 5 kids. How I missed that?
I'm busy in that sense where I'm hustling every single day, but I'm at the beginning of building a momentum. I had a lot of momentum right before COVID happened.
Okay.
And that's when I decided to move to New York. 3 days before the lockdown happened. I had moved out of my apartment, all my stuff. I had all my stuff at my parents' house. I had a temporary place in New York ready to go. There's this actor in New York who I just happen to know. He was in Boardwalk Empire. I met him in the World Series of Comedy in
Jeez.
Pittsburgh. And he was like, hey, there's an abandoned apartment below me. It doesn't have gas, but you can stay there for like 10 days while you look for a place. So I had this electric burner that I bought. I was ready to just like be, washing my hair in a bucket for 10 days, eating from an electric burner. And then they came on the news and said, nobody go anywhere for 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, well then I'll just chill here with my parents for 2 weeks. And then that never lifted. So the COVID affected so many people. It completely ruined my life. It ruined every source of income I had was gone. I had nothing to do. It was just horrible. So all of my momentum that I had in the world of comedy just completely.
It's just done.
It was over.
I think that's probably when I started following you. I don't know exactly when I started following you on social media, but I felt like it's been a while. And I know we've messaged each other just random questions over time. But I didn't have it that bad, but I did have the source of income thing completely like just flipped. Like whatever I had before was gone, had to get new clients, new ideas, new everything.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I'm in like a new momentum and I'm on something upswing, but who knows what's going to happen now.
It might
anymore.
happen again.
Yeah, who knows? Or something else terrible.
Yeah.
Right? So.
But Mexico is unearthing aliens, and
we might go to war with them for some reason.
we might go to war. AI is a thing, and it also, what was the other? They're already talking about, the new COVID variant being very dangerous. So people are starting to wear masks again, and people think that there's a conspiracy with that, like, oh, just in time for the new election year.
Yeah.
So who knows what is going to happen?
Is it so this Felicia world, is this your world? I heard you bring that up on another podcast, or is that just your website?
That's just my handle on all of my social media because Felicia Gillespie wasn't available.
I like this way better. So the reason I brought that up, and I was like, oh, this is like some cool idea she's got. Oh no, that's just her website and handle.
It's just it's just me being, if it's
international.
A Felicia world is a place that exists in my mind, and maybe when you visit there you'll see what's in there.
Okay, all right, we'll be sure to put that in the description and such like that, but people can Google whatever and
Google.
So when I did go to your YouTube page, you do have a lot of car content. Oh my god. And you brought that up earlier, saying how your best episode you didn't have the GoPro rolling, but how did you get into that? I thought like the Jerry Seinfeld part where you talking comedians. Was that the idea, or did something else happen?
I actually it was that curiosity thing where I was like, you know what? I've always been into these cool old cars. How do I drive one or a couple? And I just decided, and then I needed content for online. I was like, this will be a good way to practice video editing and directing my own thing and interviewing people. So I just decided to do that. And I put a thing out in all of these Facebook groups like, hey, if you are willing to do this for free and be on camera and let me drive your car and ask you questions about it. And I got tons of responses, tons. And most people were too far away. But I started down. I was in Orlando over the winter, so I started down there. And I was like, okay, well, this is convenient. We can make this work. And I also like this car. So I also got a lot of cars that were boring to me. I was like, I don't care about that car. That doesn't make me feel alive when I look at it. So, and then by the 5th episode, I realized, actually I taped about 7 or 8 and I aired 5, and I realized this is so much work and I'm not getting anything from it really. I mean, I'm getting experience, which is good, but there's no money in it. I think the first episode that I put out was 3 minutes. I had to keep it to 3 minutes, and it took me probably like 48 working hours or something like that, because I also want it to be perfect. But I did the music as well, so I created the music and I just got way too much footage and then had to sift through it, and I wanted to make it it's like a puzzle, like anything else creative.
You're probably doing it right.
Yeah.
And if you had all the time in the world, you would do that forever until the money came in. But everything you said, I'm like, that's it. That's how you do it. Where are you editing in, by the way?
Just iMovie.
Just iMovie.
iMovie.
Oh, that's well, there. So you're probably slow a little bit working in iMovie, but you definitely were teaching yourself some real skills. It sounds like. Yeah.
I have always loved video editing. I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm really particular about it. I appreciate it when I see it in movies. Like I just watched Jaws recently.
Oh, I was gonna rewatch Jaws recently. That's hilarious.
Jaws is one of the best edited films. And I was like, I'd never watched it because it was always on TV when I was growing up, and it was always at the same part, the end. And I'm like, well, I've seen the end. I don't need to see the whole movie. I've seen the end like 10 times. But then somebody told me it was their favorite movie, and I was like, how is Jaws your favorite movie? So I watched it because I wanted to take an interest in what they were interested in. And I watched it, the cinematic version from beginning to end, and I was like, oh, this is one of the greatest movies of all time. This is the pacing of Jaws is the perfection. I mean,
it is great.
It's so good. Also, Apocalypse Now, the editing in that movie.
Oh my God, the pacing and the editing in that movie. I get like revved up and just crazy after watching it. Another movie that has that is Kevin Bacon in, is it Tremors?
Really?
Yeah, if you ever seen that, because the camera never stops moving through the entire movie. And you wouldn't think, you're like, oh, that's kind of like a goofy, just monster movie with Kevin Bacon. No, the whole time it's just running, and then Rebecca McIntyre or whatever, whoever's in that movie shooting shotguns is crazy.
Really? I watched it as a kid, so I don't remember it. And I tried to watch it recently, like maybe within the past 3 years. So I was like, I want to watch this again. And I couldn't make it through the movie. So I didn't notice what you're talking about the editing and the pacing, but I might revisit that.
Yeah. That was, I think I rewatched it just to try to be like, okay, so what are they doing with the camera? And then I realized, like, oh my God, every shot would take like 6 people to move the camera that much. It's like 6 seconds of a shot. Yeah. It's crazy.
So I appreciate that stuff, and that's why I get into it. I feel like I have that intuitive thing in me that's like, but it requires watching and rewatching, and then you have to take a break so that you can see it with fresh eyes again. So the amount of hours that I was putting in, and I actually have a friend who is going back to college, and I was talking to her. She's very busy, and I'm like, how do you focus on all of this? And she said that they actually taught her this thing where you work for, I think it's 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. And I'm like, there's no way. That sounds so stupid. And I started doing it, and I was like, this works. Oh my God, I didn't realize that the brain only needed this amount of a break.
Yes.
And can come back.
It's so weird to edit and then be like lost in the weeds and like, and you come back, and you walk away and you come back, and it's like, oh, I got it. That's my main thing I do is edit. And so I've edited so much now that once I have like my media somewhat organized and kind of on the timeline, I can walk away and keep editing in my head.
Oh, wow.
And then just kind of be like, what if I move the clip over there instead? And just thinking like, oh, that actually is a better idea. Go get a shower and then come back and put those edits in. Now, this is years and years of doing that. But the way you describe it is so true. Sometimes I'll try to do a full hour. Usually I realize it's like you sit down, you need to just try to go for like an hour 20 minutes is probably a better idea. And I try to read it like a book, usually left to right. And then I just start, and anytime I feel like at ease, something's weird, I'm like, that's a moment I got to fix. Yeah. I don't feel happy. I'm not excited. And I work that out. And then once that feeling goes away, I keep going. Yeah. And then sometimes I'll just say, okay, I'm only going to work out the ending and just rewatching the ending until that feeling of ick goes away and I'm excited. And I'll just do that until it's right.
It's the same with writing as well. But that's the thing is I was putting this amount of work into this stuff, and then I was watching other people's content, and I'm like, this is so simple. They just threw this up, and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views, but they're getting that because they're being consistent with it. But I feel like you can't give something that amount of focus and attention and dedication and have a video 3 or 5 times a week. So people are just throwing out whatever they can grab. And I'm like, why am I putting all this work into this when nobody requires that? Nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
Except for me, maybe somebody like you. But that was another reason I stopped doing the car videos. It's like you said, if I had the budget, time, and I was getting some kind of the marketing, social media person who could push it out there in the right way, then I would do something. I still want to do something like that. It just doesn't make any sense right now.
Yeah, that's super interesting because actually the reason I started doing podcasts was because I wanted something simpler, and I was realizing like, man, if I'm making short films or short, long vlogs, like no one really is caring so much. I'm just going to do podcasts, one that's simple, and then make the little quick reels and stuff. But I've also almost come full circle now where I'm editing reels so much. You know, the
Yeah.
motion graphics, the B-roll, the sound effects. But I have gotten a lot better that recently when I'm working with some other talent, like we've been hitting like 400,000 and like
Nice.
over 100,000. So I feel comfortable doing that. But I have realized, and I've gotten better now that we can go out and be like, listen, we don't need to shoot this big 5-minute thing like we used to think and have all this content. We just need that good, you know, whatever, that good take. And once we feel it, you know, we don't have to shoot as much.
Yeah.
But I do want to make bigger movies. I do see stuff on YouTube. People are watching things 15 minutes and longer, but they're watching it on their TV. And I
Yeah.
think you got to have a kind of mix. You got to get your audience to that point. Or like you got to make small reels from your large content and then find ways to make money from that. And it seems like the only way anymore is to sell tickets or to rent somehow streaming services, you know, in a way. That's it. So.
Yeah, the comedians, I mean, they're still filming specials that are about an hour long. I think a 30-minute special is the new thing that's going to be a thing. I don't think people are going to want to watch an hour anymore. I don't mind watching it. It's just if it's very few comedians are good enough to hold my attention for an hour
Yeah.
at this point. But so I think a 30-minute special is going to be the new thing. But even the comedians who are filming an hour special, they're breaking it up, putting it on their Instagram, and everything's free. Everything is, but it's flipped since I started.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, don't put your stuff online. People will steal your jokes. No one's going to buy a ticket if they can watch it for free.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
It's so weird. And at first it was like, well, we'll just do crowd work.
Mhm.
And that was a lot of social media. And now that's even toned down. We're like, we're sick of the crowd work. Let's see what you got.
Have you experienced people? I think the crowd work is so big that it's influencing what
Yes.
comics are doing.
Yeah, Matt Rife.
Well, yeah. I haven't seen too much of him, so I'm not sure. But
Okay.
I do know that there are comedians who are going out. Well, they're doing their live shows and they're doing their act, and then they're coming back out and going, okay, if anybody has any questions, so that they can get the
So
crowd
they can
work.
get more content.
But it does leave the audience feeling strange. It gives them a strange feeling that they walk away with. Like, what was that? So it's like everything is shifting to where, the online viewers are the more important viewers instead of the people who are here right now.
That's a great point. And I think that is a problem. That I do like when the bigger comedians, when you do go, they're making you put your phones away and stuff. And they're even saying like, this is for here today, everyone. It's not for online for later. But at the same time, capitalism, you got to make money. And the best way to make money is to get views on your social media so you can sell tickets. So you're stuck in this loop.
I think everywhere should make people put their phones in their pockets.
Yeah.
Because there's just people are too addicted to it. Hey, I know this is like the AI
Right,
Smart
right.
House
This is
podcast,
the
but
Smart House right here. He's spelled Haus. By the way,
Smart House.
that's my Yinzer accent. It's not that great.
Do you think that I was just listening to 6 days ago? They had a summit for AI. Do you know about that? Chuck Schumer hosted a summit with Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. Bill Gates was there, so you know something's going on.
I like how Chuck Schumer is like it should be the head of this. Like, what about Pete? What's his face? I think he's a little younger, but whatever. Chuck, I guess.
And that other, I can't remember his name, Sam somebody, who is the creator of OpenAI.
Yes, yeah.
He was there, and so they had a closed door meeting talking about what kind of laws we can put in place around AI.
Could you imagine being in that room full of nerds?
Oh man,
I would love it. It would be so. Wait, what was the senator's name? What's his name?
Chuck
again?
Schumer.
Chuck Schumer with those guys, because seems like the outlier right now. I'm just trying to picture like who's like Elon's probably going to try to talk the most. Bill's going to try to act like he's the smartest, but and the oldest. And then Chuck Schumer, I just don't know what he would say in this conversation. No idea.
Probably just a lot of questions and listening, and hey, you guys educate me. But yeah, that meeting.
This is scary. Or they're just like shooting the breeze. Maybe they're not even talking about that. They get behind the doors like, "What'd you do last night? What you watch? Hey, you see that Severance show on Apple TV? That's pretty good."
They probably do talk about, their vacation homes they're on Mars already that we don't know about, and what Jay-Z and Beyonce are up to.
That's got to be true too. Do you think some rich people are gonna be like in some hotels and space hotels and Maybe not the moon. I feel like something in space is like easier to happen.
I think they've already got stuff up there and we
Yeah?
don't know about it. Yeah, I
Just
think
up there chilling?
I think by the time, I think right now what they're revealing to us is like, hey, check out these images. And I think there's probably a whole gated community up there already for these
I like how
billionaires.
it's literally gated too. It would
It's
be
gated, man. You can't be having the scrubs rolling up onto your property.
Do you feel okay? So the Mexican thing with the Mexican alien. Do you think that Mexican alien is real at all?
No.
Okay.
Why would it look like that?
I don't know. Some people just want to lean into it so much. But it's funny to me that the government is showing this stuff off. So I sometimes can't tell are they doing this to hide? Because it's such a show. It's like it doesn't look like anything like a real anything.
No.
But is it maybe because we do have aliens and we're just trying to ease you into it over time?
I think that's what it is. I don't know if we actually do have aliens, but I think that an alien invasion is on the roster for something that can happen, like to control our minds and force us to do something. They can just roll out like, well, UFOs are coming, so you got to do this, do that. But that's my crazy, thoughts going in that direction. Probably not realistic. I understand. But I don't know if there actually are real aliens.
Good.
No, there's so many people who have come out and said, like, no, it really is. We have the evidence and but then it's like, okay, so the organization that's going to show us, it looks like that. It looks fake as hell.
Yeah, I know.
What?
It's so dumb. It's obviously it's for likes and views. I swear it's what it is. Like they are bored or something. They need attention on something.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. What I think about aliens, it's I can't remember the theory, but there's some kind of theory about like the universe is so old and been around for so long and so many planets, yada yada. It seems like some culture, some being would have taken over and we would be in contact somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, so if that hasn't happened, it seems like maybe because of all the chaos, we are either destroyed by some, crazy thing like an asteroid hitting the Earth, or we blow ourselves up or something like that. So in that sense of being like, oh, there's so many universes and there's so many worlds. I'm like, yeah, but it's like a 500,000 second. I forget what it is. They say that we existed. It's like the dinosaurs were around for how long? Millions and millions of years. Humans have been around for, I don't know, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 years. It's so minuscule so we got to time it up perfect with the other alien civilization. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I think about it.
Yeah.
So.
I think no matter what, I think as a race, we're screwed. I think if there are aliens and they're coming to invade, they're way smarter than us, probably.
Right. Yeah. If they're coming here, we're already done.
They have the weapons to destroy us and wipe us out.
Even just in the cultures on Earth, it's like the stronger, more technologically advanced culture basically pretty much kills the other culture is how it generally happens.
Yeah.
They take over and somehow,
But do you think that AI are you for the evolution of that, or do you think there's a danger there?
There's definitely a danger of it just like my daughter who's 13 has never really seen life without her holding her phone in her hand. And, up until AI, all the news and all the media has been created by humans. And so even though we've been taking this information in through all this technology, we've been creating it. So now AI is, taking all this information and then giving it to you, which is great. I love to go to Google now and ask a question and not have to go to a website. It just need that. The problem is when the AI starts making the content. So like I need to write a report. I use AI to make that content, and there's new content. And now in the future, AI references that content. And then after a while, what are we doing? Like it's going to be garbage.
It's an echo chamber of its own information.
Yes. So that's the problem. But personally, like we were talking about earlier, I would love to have like an editor. Like I would love to take this video. I've already there's a website that I do use, and it works a little bit. I take this content, I give it to that website, and it will cut it up in pieces for me.
Wow.
So, good enough.
Okay, but do you think that AI is going to get to the point where it's making its own decisions, like, and taking over and enslaving the human race?
No, that's pretty far away, I think.
Pretty far away?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's such a possibility, but like, I just don't know how we get to that point. And if we do, it's not going to happen like we wake up and all of a sudden the robots are like at the door and, coming in. It's slowly going to happen. You're not even going to notice.
Yeah.
The joke is like, do you think we're in a simulation right now? Do you think we live in a simulation?
I have entertained that idea a lot.
Yeah. So to get to this point, you just eventually you're into it. Just like how we are in our phones every day. It's just it's here. You're plugged in. And you wake up one morning. Am I in the real world? Am I in a simulation?
Yeah.
I mean, staring into my phone every day, I feel like I'm in a world just doing that. I don't even have to be connected per se.
It is. It's like a separate world where we're all gonna eventually live. I wanted to get an idea of where you were with that stuff because, do you think we're in a simulation? Or?
I think statistically, it sounds like we would be. It just I think they said like the chances of us being number one, like the first, it doesn't.
Right. So here's the question. Somebody sprung on me recently, and it kind of blew my mind because my mind is very small anyway. But they're like, so are you the one in the simulation, and everybody else is part of the simulation, or is everyone an avatar and in the simulation with you?
So that's really tough, and I have thought about that. I have thought about it, and I have tried to read as much as I can and understand quantum mechanics as much as I can.
Wow!
And it seems to be that everything's a wave, everything's a white wave, and and the wave conforms into particles and materials when it's measured or observed. And the thing that does that seems to be consciousness, and so. Between our two consciousness right now, we are conforming the waves and materializing what we see around us. And since, if we're all connected all the time, being told the same message over and over again, aliens are real or aliens aren't real, collectively as a human species, we would be like, oh, aliens are real. Aliens are real. Could aliens really be real? Aliens are definitely real. And then we actually make aliens real because our conscious has decided it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
That's why they asked the question, well, is math real?
Yeah.
Is math a real thing, or did we invent it because we live in the simulation where this is? But I don't know. I can't really talk about that with other people because they freak out. They can't handle the idea that we might. They don't even want to think about it.
I know.
They get angry with me. I've had people yell at me. I've had people literally tell me, I want to live in my bubble. And I'm like, that is crazy what you just said. That's crazy.
But it might be, but that's also true too, that we don't know. Maybe other consciousness or people are not conscious. Isn't that the joke with the NPC is people are walking around. Have you had a conversation or interacted with someone where you're like, is that person even real? Was that just like just a chunk of meat with like 4 sentences that was programmed, and that's all they got?
Yeah, that's happened. You even have whole moments where you're like, wait a minute, none of this is real, right? None of this, because something just doesn't quite add up with my intuition and common sense, feeling of common sense. It's just something's just a little bit off, and that's why I think about it frequently. And I have met people who are like, oh yeah, I think about it frequently too. But then most people are like, that's insane. I don't even want to go there. You're crazy, So
I think I always like to think about it in terms of a computer, and depending on how much processing speed that it would have, that you think just by numbers that not everyone can be conscious because the processing speed would be too much. It's too much. So we got to have some fake people out there just running on very little. So in that sense, that maybe that would be true. But I don't know, this conversation, I feel like something's happened. I feel like I'm actually talking to you and there's a being behind you.
Yeah.
Or am I making you say what I want you to say? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It's, man, I don't know. It just, I am both for and against AI. I'm for it because sometimes when you look around at humanity, you're like, we're screwed. Like humanity's not, what is that quote? They're basically good.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's totally true. So then I think that makes people pretty lonely. I think every person is pretty lonely. So why not have AI, to be there? And also, if we're evolving into AI ourselves, it's like think about every single thing that holds us back is a need that we have, and it's a distraction. If we're like a person who's trying to get work done, and or trying to accomplish things, it's like, oh, I gotta eat now. I gotta sleep. Oh, I gotta have sex.
Yeah.
I have this emotion that I need to manage. It's so inconvenient to be a person. So in terms of productivity, that stuff is, so why not be AI and have AI? But at the same time, I also don't think that AI will ever get to the point where it's going to represent the best part of humanity, but I do think it can represent the worst part. So that's the dangerous part of it that I don't like.
It's going to get so powerful because, it is like what you said, like as humans we get lazy, and if all I got to do is press a button and make it work, I'm going to do that. For example, I think I go to Walmart once a year now, maybe.
Yeah.
I am full on delivery. Everything just comes to my door.
Wow.
So whatever is the simplest, the least amount of buttons I've got to press. Same thing with this show. The least amount of work I can do to get me to sit here is good for me. Now, is that good for the economy? Is that good for the world? I don't know. I think there's going to be some kind of need of universal income, and like people are going to have to work a little bit, or maybe not at all. Maybe we'll figure it out where it's just like your data. I always like in Japan, I think, people can like get a hotel room that's literally just like a human-sized pocket. And you just kind of get in there and that's it. You sleep. And when you leave, like you got everything. You can get your underwear from a vending machine. You can get your coffee from so it's just for you.
I go to Walmart almost every night. I just walk around. I don't even buy anything.
That's hilarious.
I'm like, this is my version of getting away. This is my affordable national redwood forest vacation is going to Walmart.
Are you people watching? Is that why you're going there?
Yeah, I'm people watching. I'm looking at products there. I'm seeing like, what would I do if I had more money? What would I buy if I?
Are you shopping to buy it online later? Do you do that?
No.
Yeah, because I know some people just look at it. All right, I'll get this on Amazon. It feels right.
I don't really buy things in general, but like I like to go there and be around people somewhat, and yeah, I have. It's like you asked me if I am busy, but I also have so much time to kill. It feels like. So I got both going on.
You play any video games?
I love video games. I don't have a setup to do it right now. I watched, oh my God, I just went to some guy's house and he had the most amazing theater system. He had the most amazing home entertainment system that probably cost about, what was it? He told me that it was 50% more than the car that he just bought, which was a Volkswagen. I don't know the two letters that come after Volkswagen, but it's like that. It's like a racing car.
Okay.
So, and I was like, so this theater system's over $100,000. Wait, but it was amazing. It was amazing.
I'm sure it's worth it.
Oh my God. I was sitting here like, man, well, the guy is, he's an architect. So he's got the money.
Okay. And the ideas for it.
Yeah, he like refinished his whole basement to his liking, and it's so freaking cool. But what was it? Oh, do I play? So I love playing video games, but I'm out of touch with what's going on there just because I can't financially afford it.
Right. I would suggest maybe jumping into VR video games if you haven't tried. Have you tried VR at all?
I've dipped my toe into some VR. I do the thing with the swords and the blocks.
Like sabers. That's a fun one.
That's fun. And I played some golf
Yeah.
VR golf. There were
Golf's always good.
dinosaurs in the background. And then I played, I think it was like some kind of a shooting game where I could like walk up to a guy and he's standing right there. And I was like, I could see how this is going to sex, you know? Like I could see this guy like reach out, touch his triceps, you know? So that's as much as I've done in VR.
I do enjoy. I love the immersiveness of the games and like for shooting, like looking down the barrel. I have played games where it was kind of like field hockey in space. The issue with that, if you got into a lobby with too many kids, everyone was just humping each other because it's just you're floating people, and it's just so easy to get up, and that's all the boy kids. I shouldn't say boys; it's girls too. They just come up and they're just humping. And I remember I played long enough that eventually, like, changed the lobby where it had these huge guidelines of like not touch each other, and there's all these other settings. So I think VR needs to get past that because that seems to be a thing for a lot. But it is a lot of fun. I saw my first like immersive VR reel, you know, them in a VR theater watching a football game. But it was shot as if the person was really at the theater at first. When I watched it, I was like, oh, someone's shooting video in a theater. That's probably not right. But then I realized, oh, this is VR. But I was still watching it like it was really happening in the real world.
Wow.
So that was a weird feeling because that's kind of like popping up more and more.
I have seen the metaverse comedy clubs. I've sent my tape to the metaverse. There are like two of them. Both of them love me, but I don't have a long enough tape. But it would like one of them is like you're sitting in a comedy club and there's a screen where the brick wall is, and you're just watching the video footage. But then there's a newer one where it's like an actual avatar of you. They come in person and they scan your body and they put it in, and so you're doing the audio, I guess.
Well, the new iPhone, the iPhone 15 has spatial video, which is basically, I guess, VR for video. So if I were to record this moment right now on an iPhone 15, we could re-experience it in VR.
Wow.
So if you have the setup right, VR stand-up might not. It's gonna be a lot better than Zoom stand-up.
It's gonna be the new thing. I don't know how long it's gonna take to get there, but virtual real estate and all that, people are buying that up.
I know that's really weird too. I mean, I guess in a sense it makes sense.
Yeah.
That if a lot of people are there, if you have the audience to be there, well, then you want advertising and stuff to be there. But to me, it was always like, what's infinity? Just make more data. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you this because you know how that there's the thing where your phone will pick on what you're saying and then it shows you an advertisement for that thing. And you're like, okay, the phones are listening. Like everyone knows that now. It's common. We've seen it on our feeds. Recently, am I crazy or I have been seeing things on my feed that I know I haven't said out loud, but I've thought. And that's blowing me away because I'm like, how I haven't Googled it. I haven't, like, there's no trace of it externally, but it's popping up on my phone. And I'm like, so can my phone, is it in my thoughts now?
It's the other way around, I think.
Okay.
It's pushing, well, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So one, it's like I said before, how we're all becoming on the same wavelength because we're all listening and watching the same things. And so if I'm like a thing that has a product or whatever, I want you to sell it. I'm like, whatever algo things I'm pushing you eventually start to think it. And then I send it to you. And now you're like, oh my God, I was just thinking that.
Okay.
But maybe like we kind of tricked you into it. Also, I think the algorithms are just getting so good. They're just they're guessing and they're really good because they're not just getting information from you. They're getting information from everyone around you, your family, your friends. They're connecting all the dots. It's scary.
It's so scary. It's like, yeah, what you're saying is like when we were in high school and I remember somebody told the teacher in the class, every time I think of a song, it comes on the radio. And he's like, that's because they play the song so often. You're just,
you're already thinking about it.
But I swear to you, I had the thought, I was driving, nobody in the car, not talking out loud. And I had the thought, life is a non-refundable, immersive experience. And I was like, I should tweet that. But I didn't tweet it yet because I was like, maybe I can make it better. I had that thought. then at a different time, same day, I was like, I would like to watch The Great Gatsby soon. And the next day, I had an advertisement in my phone for an immersive Great Gatsby.
Oh my
show.
God.
I swear to God, man. And I was like, you're in my brain now. I even made it happened quickly, and I made sure I was like, I didn't say that out loud. I didn't Google The Great Gatsby yet. And there was a second one that I don't remember, but I remember the second one. I was like, this has happened again. So I'm really paying attention now.
That's a scary one. I could think maybe you manifested it, just like like you're making, like I said, your conscious makes reality. And for some reason, your conscious decided to show up in an advertisement.
Dude, those two things specifically.
That is really scary.
Oh.
Ooh, you were plugged in. You were really plugged in.
I need to,
That's what happened when you went down your magician rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like, that's when they came over and just dropped that thing in your head. You were just so deep in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. Do you have any favorite like social media platforms or streaming platforms? Where are you floating to lately?
I do like Instagram as a platform. I feel like, although Twitter is really creeping up, a lot of people they don't like Twitter ever since Elon took over, but I like it since Elon took over. I feel like there's so much more information on there.
It reminds me of old school YouTube, where you would click on YouTube and there'd be like a 9/11 conspiracy and then some other video that could be complete nonsense and then maybe a real news article. Like, you get on there and like I saw it was like 6 pictures of John Fetterman all together. And he looked different in each picture because he was sick. But the conspiracy theory was these are not the same person. And I was like, maybe.
I saw that.
Maybe.
Did you see the one of the $20 bill, Jackson on it, lined up with Epstein's face?
Yes, I've seen that one. That one's too good too. I'm not gonna lie.
Good. I was like, no, dude, even the facial scars. What?
Yeah. Oh.
Dude is a time traveler for sure.
Yeah, him and Keanu Reeves just time traveling along together.
And they've been taking the adrenochrome the whole time. It's like all lining up in my head. All coming together. I know everything now.
That's fun. I've been trying to get into Twitter now that it's just this crazy chaos wild fest anymore. But I find it so funny that I get on there. And I have followed Elon for a long time, but I've never like cared what he said on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I do now, but immediately it's his tweet. So it's so hilarious to me. Where it's like, okay, well, this is just your like platform. It's just listen to me.
He's funny. That's why I follow him. He's very funny. But I feel like Twitter, maybe it was always this way, and it's just more appealing to me now. But I feel like I get my news from Twitter now.
That's a little scary, maybe. I don't know.
It is scary. It shouldn't be that way. But it's almost like getting your news from these independent journalists it is better than the mainstream media because nobody trusts the mainstream anymore. It's like, who watches CNN and Fox anymore when we know, it's proven how much they've lied, all of them, left or right. So Twitter is probably the same thing. It's like, oh, this is coming from a source from the left or a source from the right, so it's skewed. But I don't know, just being available to me like that, where I'm like, I don't have to go even press a button and turn on the news, find the channel. It's just right there in my feed. It pops up, and I'm like, oh, now I am aware that this is what people are talking about.
I love being able to go right to the source. So independent journalism is like my favorite. Twitter, TikTok, whatever, because I like when the person's there, like they're talking about the stuff that's there. And I'm not gonna lie, I watch a lot of just like the TikTok, Instagram reels where they're just throwing the green screen on and they're just talking, and they just seem usually so much more knowledgeable than someone on the mainstream media, which I always find like almost like, how do you know so much? It's like, oh, well, it's because you're sitting there actually doing work and you're not, the other people are just working on their makeup before they go in front of the camera.
It's boots on the ground with that underdog mentality. They're still thirsty, and the people who work at the bigger places are like, I don't know, once you are in a place for so long, it probably does skew the content that you put out, and they probably do approve or disapprove of certain stories.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
we're not going to run that. So you're at the, you have to follow what they do. But yeah, it's that rawness of the
Yeah, because it's got to be so cushy, air conditioned. You just kind of get into the lights and stuff. And then TikTok and Twitter, you're locked in your basement with your phone.
Right.
This is a little off topic, but I just thought about this right now, seeing stuff on social media. Have you seen the joke where like every celebrity seems to have like a pour room where they need to go if they need to apologize for things?
No.
Like, so recently, I guess it was Drew Barrymore. She tried to get her show back on the air because of the writer strikes, and then eventually she was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I shouldn't." So she did an apology video, which looks like it was like a back room of her house that she was like has no money, and the same thing that Ashton Kutcher and Mila, whatever his wife's name is, they did the same thing when they were apologizing about that letter they sent the judge about that Danny guy, and it's just like the crappiest background, like they're in a barn.
I think I know. I didn't see those videos, but I can imagine it's like when someone comes out and it's like the lighting is all dim.
Yeah,
they don't have enough lighting. They just woke up like, they make it seem like, no, I'm so down to earth with you guys.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It was such a mistake. Their hair's in a ponytail for some reason. It's so funny.
I can't imagine some people can't do that. I bet if Conor McGregor had to put out an apology video, he would still he would do it from his Lamborghini boat,
He would never put out an apology video,
Yeah,
though.
true.
It would be fake apology, though.
True.
And that's why we love that. That's the best thing when you think someone's going to give an apology and they're just like, no, fuck off.
Yeah. Sometimes you do have to do that.
Yeah, well, there's that one congresswoman who is extremely right and then has all these really family religious views and then was just straight up like jerking a dude off in the theater last week. I forget her name, Laura something.
Boebert.
Yeah, Laura Boebert. And she was also getting felt up. But then when she got kicked out, she was like, you don't know, you know who I am. And she's like dancing and stuff. And people were like, yeah, all right, whatever.
And then she put out that amazing tweet. The amazing tweet about like, you guys are driving me to my knees, but I pray a lot, so that's where I'm strongest. And everyone's
my God.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think she completely like just glossed over that like her date was like just grabbing her tits, just like hardcore, like just really into it too.
I mean, she was doing it back.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. She had the hand in there. They were having a great time.
They were in the movie theater?
Yeah, they were in the movie
Okay.
theater.
Yeah, that's the place to do it.
I guess you haven't seen the footage of that incident.
I've seen a little bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen him touching her and her touching him.
It's hot. So hot. This is a tech show. I don't know what we're getting into all of a sudden. I jumped on that one because it was
anywhere.
social. It was social media as we're starting to wrap it up here, I guess. Do you have any I know you're so do you have any like smart devices in your house?
I don't, and I will never. I'm not down with that. I don't like. It's like the dude in this with his home theater system would say, "Alexa, dim the theater lights to 5%," and I don't like that. I don't like that. It's convenient. You don't have to get up. I get it, but like he's listening to everything else, and I know that the phones are already doing that, but to install it in my house, like my phone, I can throw away, but to have it installed in my home, I don't want any presence that I can't kick out in my house. So I don't have that. So no, I don't even think that I'm not there yet with it.
I go days that I've talked to Google or Alexa more than anyone else. Like,
really?
Well, I got to a point now because my whole house is set up, lights, temperature, everything, TV. So I just wake up and say, "Hey Google, good morning," and it turns everything on the way I want it to. But now I also, if I'm sitting at work or I'm sitting at my desk, I just need like quick facts or math or like I'm just, "Hey Google, what's this? Hey Google, what's this?" In a couple weeks, probably not even a couple years, they'll have the AI into that. And so, because right now it does, if I ask a question, it's pretty slow or basic, or it kind of says, "I found this on this website," and then just blurts out something long. And I can't really ask a question after that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be coming where I'm going to have full blown back and forth conversations with it.
That's interesting. I can see why that's good. I can see why that's very productive. and efficient. I mean,
Mhm.
and I might do that if I were a CEO of a company or something. I also love it when it's in other people's houses and I visit and I get to see it happen. I'm thrilled by it, but I'm also afraid of it for myself.
And for my setup, when people asking me about it, I'm like, well, you probably want something else because I was really like built it myself, did the routines, and it's so buggy too, especially at first. You know, like one time I think I was mad, it gave me the wrong answer, and I just swore at it. And it came right back at me and he's like, I don't like what you called me. It was very I think it said, do not talk to me that way. I am not joking.
See, that's why I don't want it. Because I swear a lot. I get angry and I'm just like, I can't. What, you're not going to tell me what to not say to you?
Yeah. And sometimes Alexa likes to throw like almost an advertisement after you interact with it. So if you ask it to turn something on, and it would be like, oh, by the way, if you want to know about the weather, I can do that too. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
It very much is like that Disney movie, Smart House. Thing can just go over and lock you inside. And now, do you have the wall that looks like the beach? Do you have that? Do you have some kind of scene on your wall?
Yes.
Where you do?
Well, I have the TVs are hooked up to the Google thing, so they're always like an art or street art or something like that. So,
and then it's like, don't talk to me that way, and you're like, fuck you, Google, and then it just starts showing riots and things.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? What's funny is it's like you could at least set it up to make it happen as a joke and scare your friends when they come over. So that's true. But I love having it all set up. It does make things really, really quick, but it does make you wonder if the government like locks into that and they're like, we're shutting everyone down. We're just going to lock all the doors because we can. We have access to everything.
Well, that's why the people don't want electric cars, right?
Yeah,
because they're like, well, they can shut your car off.
And suppose that's happened. I think the cops can actually they said they weren't going to allow to do this, but you could call, say, Tesla. Hey, we know such and such is running away. Can we shut the car off?
Oh, or you didn't pay your child support, or whatever. Well, but
your child support.
I'm for that one though, honestly. Like, if you're not a child, I don't need to be going to get some pussy. Like, what are you doing, dude? Take care of your kids. I'm sorry that I said that.
No,
there wasn't a Google here to tell me not to say that.
There was a point years ago where I was really low on money. And I remember I had all my notes and all my writing was in Evernote. And at the time I used like the premium service, whatever it was. It was like $10 a month. But now I'm thinking about that's such a crazy for just a note app. But I didn't pay. So I was locked out of my notes. I was locked out of writing. And I remember sitting on my floor going, all right, this is a low. This is tough.
Yeah.
I can't write.
That's crazy. See, my mother grew up, she was like born in 51, so she grew up in the 50s and 60s, but the way she grew up was like it was 1800s, where they had no electricity. And this is the case with a lot of people still, but like they had no electricity, no running water. They just had like a farm. And this was in the Appalachian Mountains. There's like mountain lions. There's like real risk, rattlesnakes of dying. So that's just one person away from me. So that's probably why I can't get so on board. I'm fascinated with it. I love it. I love watching it. I love seeing where it's going. But I'm too connected to that woman who raised me. So I'm still going to have that like grounded in basic sort of nothing, like very natural stuff.
Yeah. Just in case you need to start a fire.
Yeah.
Or like go get food from the woods, or take a shit in the woods. Be comfortable with that. You know, some people would never. They would go hide in a corner somewhere before they go take a crap in the woods.
So that's why I still write with a pen and paper. And
oh wait, you can do that?
Yeah. I've switched to Post-it notes. Post-it notes are great, man.
I'm a Post-it note
for short
person.
form little thing.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, we're starting to wrap it up here, I think. Oh, I wanted to just one weird question. What tech do you think have like changed your life that like your parents didn't have? Now you're kind of like we're touching on that a little bit actually. But what's something that you think you have that's like, oh my God, I can't believe anyone's even lasted without this?
I want to say the Google Maps or any maps, but I think they were fine without it. So I don't know how life-changing that one is, but probably literally just the ability to have any question answered right away. That's got to be life-changing right there. Because in the past, you might have to call a plumber or an electrician, and now you just be like, YouTube, how do I do this?
Yeah, and it used to be wisdom was a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, old people had wisdom because of experience. And it's not as popular. It's not a useful thing anymore. Knowledge, it's what it is. And that's why we're getting rid of all these we need to get rid of all our old senators and congressmen because they don't have wisdom anymore. We go on the internet, figure it out. Okay, we got it. We don't need you. Go away.
We don't need you. We do need wisdom still. There's not enough knowledge. There's too much information is what it is. There's too much information and people don't really know how to apply it and put it together. So that is lacking, I think. They did have more, like you said, knowledge and wisdom just from the life experience.
So I guess the problem would be more people having that, what I just said. I'm getting tired. I can tell by it. My words aren't coming out as good as they used to. But like my daughter and Gen Z, they have that feeling like, oh, I know everything. I have the access to everything. Yeah. Like what? Like fuck off. They're like, you don't know. Like, yeah, I do. I just chat GPT how to save my friend from choking on a lollipop. Got it.
They do, but also every person that age, we thought we knew everything too. You know, we just didn't have the actual phone to back it up. Be like, see.
Yeah, they completely fact check your parents and grandparents. That pisses them off. Oh my God. If I'll piss my dad off, you have an argument with him and you're like, you kind of
they can't.
And you go like this.
They can't handle it.
Ooh, no. Cannot handle being told wrong.
So I'm going to say, just the ability to have the information at the fingertips is probably life-changing.
That is. I was going to say air fryers. That's really, I think, pretty great.
I don't exactly yet.
You don't have an air fryer?
I don't. It just cooks things faster, right?
It cooks things faster and better.
Okay.
Before, if you would go to a restaurant and have like cheesesteak fries, and you would bring them home to eat later. Maybe put them in the oven for like 20, 40 minutes and they'd be better, but you can't put them in the microwave. It tastes like crap.
Yeah.
You put them back in the air fryer for 5 to 10 minutes, it's better than the restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got to get one of those.
Different. Same with pizza and that stuff too. Yeah.
Well, as long as it doesn't talk to me, I'll get one of those.
Well, the new ones might be. Actually, I was getting annoyed that my coffee machine's not connected because I want to just tell it to turn on. I have to press a button.
I'm going to start talking to my air fryer like a battered housewife. Bitch, when is that dinner going to be ready? I don't like how you're talking to me.
I don't like how you're talking to me. Well, whatever, as long as it's done. Well, anyways, you guys any last plugs for me for the show?
Hey,
wrap up?
Everybody should follow me on social media. My handle is Felicia World on everywhere. And follow me on there for upcoming dates and content and cool things. You can send me a message. I'll respond.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Felicia, for being on the show. And thanks for watching Smart House on the Pits. All the news stories can be found on Smart House Facebook page and soon Reddit. I don't think I actually had really any news today. That's all right. FYI, artificial intelligence is used a lot to make the show, so take that as you may. Check out www.thepitts.company where you can find endless amount of funny and informative content from Pittsburgh. Smart House is produced by the Gateway.media, the gateway to all your media needs. Thanks for watching Smart House.